Have you ever wondered how the relationship between India and Maldives, two neighboring countries, evolved over time? The tale of the bond between these nations is as intriguing as it is complex. In the early stages, the relationship between India and the Maldives was marked by mutual respect and cooperation. This camaraderie was formalized in the year 1976 when a significant agreement was penned down. Under this pact, India pledged to provide naval protection to the Maldives, signifying a protective stance towards its island neighbor. This agreement was not merely a strategic move, but a testament to the deep-seated friendship between the two nations. It was a symbol of India's commitment to safeguard the Maldives, its sovereignty, and its interests. This was a pivotal moment in the history of India-Maldives relations, setting a precedent for future collaborations and mutual support. However, their relationship was not devoid of turbulence. Over the years, it has been influenced by a host of factors: geopolitical shifts, changes in leadership, and differences in their national interests. These challenges have tested the resilience of their bond, leading to periods of tension and even discord. But it's crucial to remember that the relationship between India and the Maldives was not built overnight. It took years of diplomacy, understanding, and compromise from both sides. The relationship, however, was not always as strained as it is today. So, where did the seed of discord between India and Maldives start to sprout? Well, let's take a step back to the year 2012, a year of significant political turbulence in Maldives. It was a year that saw the country's first democratically elected president, Mohamed Nasheed, ousted in what he described as a coup. The political instability was a ripe ground for the planting of seeds of discord. As the political landscape shifted, so did the country's relationships with foreign nations. India, a long-standing ally and partner of Maldives, found itself in a precarious position. Indian companies who had been operating in Maldives for years suddenly found themselves under intense scrutiny. The expulsion of GMR Group, an Indian company that had been managing Male's international airport, was a significant shock. The company's contract was abruptly terminated, the Maldivian government citing contract irregularities as the cause. However, many saw this move as a reflection of the changing political climate and a deliberate attempt to distance Maldives from India. This incident was the first of many that would strain the relationship between the two nations. Indian companies, who had once enjoyed a welcoming business environment in Maldives, now faced uncertainty and hostility. The expulsion of GMR Group was seen as a warning sign, a clear indication that the ties between Maldives and India were fraying. The situation was further complicated by the increasing influence of China in Maldivian politics and economy. As India's influence seemed to wane, China's presence was becoming more visible. This shift was not just a matter of economics and politics. It represented a fundamental change in the balance of power in the region. The expulsion of Indian companies and the growing influence of China were the first signs of a deepening rift between India and Maldives. These events marked the beginning of a period of tension and uncertainty, a stark contrast to the decades of friendship and cooperation that had preceded it. This was the beginning of a discord that would grow over time. How did the discord between these two nations grow into a rift? Let's take a step back to the year 2013. This was a year of change, a year of political turmoil in Maldives. A new government took power, and with it came a new perspective on the nation's foreign relations. This shift in political landscape signaled the start of an era that would only widen the chasm between Maldives and India. The new regime in Maldives began to adopt an anti-India rhetoric. It was as if the ties that had bound these two nations together were slowly being severed. The rhetoric was not just confined to words, it was translated into actions that were a clear departure from the previously friendly relations. One of the most significant actions that signaled this growing rift was the cancellation of contracts with Indian companies. These were not just any contracts. They were agreements that had been in place for years. Contracts that had facilitated the growth and development of Maldives. Abruptly, they were cancelled, and the impact was felt across the Indian Ocean. Indian companies, which had been instrumental in bolstering the Maldivian economy, were suddenly left in the lurch. The move was seen as a direct affront to India, a sign that Maldives was willing to risk its long-standing relationship for short-term gains. But the impact was not just economic. It was political, it was diplomatic. The cancellation of these contracts was a clear statement to the world. Maldives was distancing itself from India. The ripple effects of this political and economic upheaval were felt far and wide. The friendly ties that had once bound these two nations together were strained, and the discord had grown into a rift. A rift that seemed to be expanding with each passing day. This was a time of uncertainty in the relationship between India and Maldives. What is the current state of the India-Maldives relationship? It's a question that has been asked in many circles, not just in South Asia, but around the world. The answer is, naturally, complex. In the recent past, there have been significant changes in the Maldivian political landscape. In 2018, the Maldives saw a dramatic shift in power when Ibrahim Mohamed Solih came into office as president. This change in leadership marked a turning point in the strained relationship between India and the Maldives. President Solih's administration has shown a keen interest in mending the ties with India. This has resulted in numerous diplomatic exchanges, with both nations engaging in dialogues to strengthen their relationship. There's been a conscious effort to leave the past behind and forge a new path forward, one that's based on mutual respect, shared interests, and cooperation. The Indian government, for its part, has reciprocated these efforts. India has been actively involved in assisting the Maldives with its developmental projects. For instance, India has been a significant contributor to the Maldives' infrastructure development, such as the construction of a cricket stadium and several other projects. Moreover, India has provided financial assistance to the Maldives in the form of grants and soft loans, all part of its commitment to aid the Maldives' economic recovery. These gestures are reflective of India's willingness to rebuild the relationship and foster a sense of solidarity. In the realm of defense, both nations have conducted joint military exercises, signaling a willingness to work together in maintaining regional security. This collaborative stance is a departure from the tension and mistrust that marked their previous interactions. Despite these positive developments, however, the relationship remains fragile. The geopolitical dynamics of the region, particularly the influence of other major powers, continue to cast a shadow on Indo-Maldivian relations. The Maldives' strategic location in the Indian Ocean makes it a coveted piece in the larger geopolitical chessboard. Furthermore, the Maldives' domestic politics, which have been characterized by instability and frequent changes in leadership, add another layer of uncertainty. The trajectory of the India-Maldives relationship is, to a large extent, tied to the Maldives' internal political dynamics. So, what is the current state of the India-Maldives relationship? It's a relationship that's in a state of flux. It's a relationship that's seen its share of highs and lows. And it's a relationship that's currently on the mend. But, as with any relationship, it's a work in progress. While the relationship shows signs of recovery, the future is uncertain. So, what can we take away from the story of the India-Maldives relationship? In the grand tapestry of international relations, the India-Maldives relationship is a thread that's both vibrant and intricate. It's a story that began with a mutual agreement, a pact rooted in shared cultural ties and strategic interests. This agreement was a beacon of promise, a testament to the power of cooperation and shared vision between two nations. Yet, as is often the case in the world of politics, this bond was put to the test. The seed of discord was sown with political instability. a thorny issue that is no stranger to any nation. This instability acted as a wedge, driving a growing rift between these two nations. It's a stark reminder of how fleeting harmony can be when it's pitted against the unpredictable currents of political change. As the rift expanded, the relationship between India and Maldives began to resemble a chess game, each move calculated, every strategy meticulously planned. Their connection, once defined by mutual benefits, was now overshadowed by political maneuvering and strategic posturing. And yet, amid this growing divide, the ties that bind these two nations could not be entirely severed. Fast forward to the current scenario, the relationship is akin to a seesaw, tilting this way and that, influenced by the ever-changing dynamics of international politics. The rift is still there, a crack that runs deep, but it's not an insurmountable barrier. There's a sense of cautious optimism, a hope that the future might bring an opportunity for rapprochement. In the end, the India-Maldives relationship is a complex tale of mutual dependence and political maneuvering. It's a narrative that underscores the delicate balance between diplomacy and national interests, between shared history and diverging futures. And as we've learned, it's a story that's still being written, its final chapters yet to be penned. The India-Maldives relationship is a complex tale of mutual dependence and political maneuvering, and only time will tell how it will evolve.